Hi, I'm Kim, and I'm from Same Love Toti. We're a non-profit organization that looks after LGBT people and their families. And today we're doing our episode 2 of the new series, Dala Ikusasa. Dala Ikusasa means build a future in Zulu. And today I have with us Orianda. Welcome, Orianda. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Kim. My name is Orianda Pepu. I am from Same Love Toti Turning Point organization, which is based in Dunside. The offices are there. So ATU also have a safe house that is there to offer services to victims of abuse and domestic violence. So now we cannot disclose where the safe house is for obvious reasons, safety.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here. So today we're going to share with you some tips, some advice from both of our organizations. So you will know where to go to if you ever come across someone who has been abused, someone who has been assaulted, or if you yourself are assaulted or harassed or abused, you can approach us at Same Love Toti, or you can approach the Turning Point where you will find Orianda. Okay, so first of all, I need to do a trigger warning. Today's episode will cover distressing events, distressing things like bullying and other times when people are in crisis. So if you feel it might upset you, please be careful as you watch this. Don't watch it, do watch it, but just be warned that should you need counseling after this video, we're here for you. I'm going to lay out for you a scenario for LGBT youth in South Africa. So basically, LGBT youth have very limited knowledge about sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, sex characteristics. There's little or almost no education out there. So they come from a place where they know that they're different and they don't know why, and they're busy discovering. And the sad thing is they got this inkling that perhaps they may be gay or lesbian or maybe non-binary or maybe transgender. So then the problem comes in is that they can see the society around them don't accept lesbians, gays, transgender, because we live in a very heteronormative and cisnormative society. So LGBT youth don't have anywhere to go. They can't talk to their parents because their parents might reject them. They can't talk to their peers because their friends might stop being friends with them. They can't talk to their teachers because their teachers are also not trained to deal with LGBT youth. And even if they belong to a church where you would normally find help, if you're LGBTQIA+, you're probably not going to find help at a church. So we have youth that don't have anywhere to go and don't have any knowledge, which makes them a perfect target for bullies. And this obviously happens a lot at schools. So this brings us to the point where LGBT youth do get bullied at school and do get ostracized. And we need to know the times when we can take action for ourselves, and when we can actually ask for help, and it's better to ask for help. So let's start off with, first of all, people can dislike you, and that's not a crime. So nobody has to be friends. They can disagree with you. Nobody has to agree with you, okay? So in those circumstances, you know what? If people are being mean, walk away. Walk away. That's our first thing. Walk away. If they continue to carry on to harass you, well, then harassment is a different issue, okay? So then we can report to teachers, to the headmaster. Then we can tell parents. Then we can ask the adults to intervene. So when those sort of like small instances of dislike and small instances of disagreeing, when those escalate, that's when we start to say, all right, now we need to intervene. Now we need to do something. Right, if someone dislikes you and insults you and says homophobic slurs against you, or transphobic or biphobic slurs against you, they are not only insulting you, but they're insulting the group that you belong to. When they insult the group that you belong to, this can be very serious, because then this can be hate speech, okay? And when people also want to control you, when they threaten you and tell you, you must be straight, you must be however it is they want you to be, that is not a good thing. So that is, again, where we can intervene. And that's where you can speak to us. We will speak with schools. We will speak with teachers, with headmasters. We will speak with parents and families, and really make sure that this doesn't continue, okay? Because you have a right to be safe. You have a right to exist in your school, in your own environment. Okay, and unfortunately, sometimes it goes even further than that, where people are harassed, when they chase you after school, when they continue to say really mean things. Maybe cyberbullying comes in. Maybe they start to hit you. That's assault, okay? And when I say that's assault, I mean that's a crime. It's a crime for somebody to hit you. So that's assault, okay? Harassment is a crime. So we need to address these issues before they get even worse and become issues like rape. When it comes to serious bodily harm, when it comes to rape, this is when if we're involved in the case, we will then also turn to Orianda. Orianda, what would you do in the case of an LGBT youth being assaulted, harassed, or even raped at school or in their community? What would you in the Safe House do?
Okay. So at ATU, we offer services to empower victims to deal with the situation that they're faced with, be it domestic violence and like rape, as you have said. If they come to us, then we take them through the process, because remember, when you are raped, then your health is being put at risk, first of all, and then there's a psychosocial aspect to it where you need to deal with it emotionally, psychological effects. So we take the victim through the process of going to health department, where they see the doctor, they being assisted medically, they get checked, they get to open a case there. There's a place in KZN, Prince Mshieni Hospital, that has a department called Tutuzela Care Center. So that is the area where the victims of rape will then get the first aid kit. They get the samples, and then they get tested for HIV. They get the medicine. There's PEP. They receive PEP, which is post-exposure prophylaxis. So then, therefore, whatever infection that they might be exposed to is then prevented. So the case is opened there, and then if their lives or their safety is threatened in the community, we then refer them for admission in the ATU Safe House.
Okay. Yes. And so you would go to the Prince Msheni Hospital, but then do you also use clinics that perhaps if the person isn't close to the Prince Msheni Hospital, would you use clinics?
Yes, we do use clinics, and we have a police station nearby us, where we take the victim to open a case, if there's a need to open a case, if there is a need to apply for protection order. So we then take the victim to court, just because sometimes you may know the information of where is the police station, but when you are faced with the circumstance, when you are the victim, you become helpless, powerless. That is where we come in to hold your hand and take you through the process, while at the same time you receive counseling.
Okay.
Yes.
And then how long would they stay at the safe house?
Well, the safe house admission depends from case to case, and then if then the safety of the victim was the case when they were admitted, they can only exit the safe house when it is safe for them to do so. So like all other cases of domestic violence, because we know some of the LGBTQIA plus community don't only get abused outside, some of them get the abuse within their homes, like you have
That's
mentioned
right.
before. Yes, when the child now discloses that they sexually identify as maybe a lesbian, so then it becomes a challenge for some of the parents to accept that situation, because they have this box, that they have these expectations out of this boy child or this girl child. They want them to have a husband which is a male, like you have said. So now then it's a change for both the parents and the child, if it's a child. So now they're going through a process where they both need intervention, and sometimes having to deal with that change, then abuse does happen, where maybe the child is mistreated, so then emotional abuse surfaces, and sometimes they hit the child. So that case is treated as domestic violence. Then now, if the child needs a place of safety, will then be removed while the child received the services that they need at that moment. Because remember, when we exist, human needs, basic human needs is, what is the basic need? I'm hungry, you need to eat, you need shelter. So that's according to Abraham's hierarchy of needs. And then when you are fed and you are safe, you need to belong. You have a need to be loved. So when they identify themselves as a lesbian, they sort of kind of feel like, I don't belong here anymore. Hence the change of treatment at home. So ATU will play the role to seek and restore the broken relationships while we educate, because now some of the mistreatments that come, or the abuse that comes from their family environment, is because of lack of knowledge. They don't know how to react to this change that some parents have seen while the child is developing, that no, something we don't understand with the child. Some they don't. They only discover when the child discloses. Right. So dealing with that change, there needs to be an intervention to bring about balance. And therefore, counseling would not be required by the child only. Both, they need to get to a level of acceptance through the psychosocial support that ATU is there to offer.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So at least we know now that if we do find a child, a youth that is suffering, sort of being ostracized or physically hurt at home, that at least we know that it's not a hopeless situation. We have a place where you can go, where you will find help. And they will take care of everything. So from a health perspective, a counseling perspective, and even going to the police. So this is really a source of support that we can
Yes.
use.
Yeah, and also just to mention, when I'm referring to a child, I'm talking now from a parent perspective. The
Yeah.
child might be 18 years old or above, but
Yes.
in their home they are a child. But
Yes.
safe houses, they will accommodate people from 18 years old and above. And then in a case where the victim is below 18 years old, will be referred for children's accommodation.
Okay.
Yes. So in KZN, we do have safe houses. There's Care House in Durban, and then there's an Abrina in Pietermaritzburg, and then we have ATU offices in Toti. So there is help available, really.
Right. Super.
Yeah, so we would really like to encourage people to do speak out, because now these type of changes sometimes do challenge mental health. So it's okay to reach out for help, and we are grateful to have organizations like Same Love Toti. So the work that you are doing in the community is amazing, because we know people that identify with the LGBTQIA plus community have somewhere to go. So they get to have that sense of belonging and know that I'm not alone and there's help available.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, at Same Love, obviously we work alongside Turning Point, but then also, you know, we do have access to the South African Human Rights Commission, Lawyers for Human Rights. So we also have access to lawyers who are also willing and able to help. And those would be in cases where, like perhaps at schools, if schools are not willing to protect their learners, then we can intervene there, because like I told you, harassment is a crime, assault is a crime. So these are things that usually are against school protocol anyway. And people are only slow to actually act on that just because it'll be an incident that has happened against an LGBTQIA plus learner. So we can then, I don't want to say force their hand, but certainly encourage them to uphold their own school rules and to make sure that the school doesn't face legal action. Okay, so that's where we can also intervene. So if you are experiencing abuse, whether it's in the home, whether it's at school, whether it's even in your community, there is a place to go. You are not alone. Like Orianda said, in extreme cases, you could approach Orianda. In the lesser cases, you can approach me, and if I feel it's necessary, we can definitely escalate it to get professionals to help you.
Yes, and Kim, just to add on that, when you mention extreme cases, because we know that in South Africa, GBV is a pandemic. So domestic violence cases, it's the thing that is always happening. We don't like it, but it's how it is. So if a person finds themselves in an abusive situation, and their lives are threatened, their general safety is threatened, then we normally advise for victims to have an escape plan, especially in abusive relationships, because if you want to leave the relationship, that also might put you in risk, because the perpetrator, the abuser, doesn't want you to leave. They want to keep you in that environment, because it is a cycle. They will buy you gifts, honeymoon phase, and then tension builds up, and then abuse, and then the apologies, and then it goes on and on. So the escape plan normally works better. So how does that work is the abused or the victim of abuse will have to maybe pack a bag without the perpetrator knowing that they're planning to leave. Otherwise, then they're gonna put tabs on them. If they see that they're planning to leave, then they may want to kill them. In some extreme cases, it has happened. So you pack a bag, even if it's not a big bag, so that the perpetrator now doesn't notice. You see, now you are scheming for your own safety. Yeah. So you take few important items, things like your ID, things like your certificate, your driver's license, if you have, so that you know when you get a chance to leave, you've got all the important documentation safe in that bag. And also, if you're taking medication, your medication is included in the bag. And it's always best to save a little bit of money. Right. Yeah, because, you know, in some cases, abusers don't want you to be financially independent. Even if you're working, sometimes they would monitor how you spend your money. So it's better to have a separate account where you keep your money, or just some way where you can put the money, so that when that comes, or when you have that chance to flee, you've got a little bit of money kept, and there's someone that knows. It's important to let someone know about your situation. I know in a lot of abusive situations, victims will protect the situation and make excuses. So that is why we encourage that it is better to have that someone you trust, or at least 5 people. And safe houses are there also. We will share their numbers at the end, where then you know who to call when you are ready, and then you've gotten a chance to escape, you know at least where to go. So you have got a plan in place.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, thank you very much. That's really useful information. So that's it for today. What we would like to do is say thank you to Orianda for bringing all of that information, and also to encourage you, if you are in a tricky situation, an abusive situation, please reach out to one of us. Also, if you have any questions, just pop them down into the comment section. It's there, and we definitely will get back to you, okay? So yeah, we're here for you. You are not alone. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.